To order. Let's stand up and we'll do a pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Bob, you take the leadership there. I'm saying pledge allegiance, just in case I forget some of the words. The roll call, I'll just go, Lynn Appleton is here, Mike Causey is here, Jim Latham is here, Louis Lemaire, for those winning of the Everblades, right? To go on to the next level. And I am, Doug Zanner is here and Peggy is here. So we have a quorum. We have 5 or 7. And just so you know, that I think gloss over the fact, that's a big thing. In the length I've been here, we've never not had a quorum, which is a big thing. We've not had to cancel a meeting because we haven't had a quorum. You know that it's a big thing, Peggy.
If you could let your other counterparts and committees know that is the standard now.
That's right. Now look at that.
Sign in, Russell.
Excuse me. Yeah. No, I put an X
I have
by
an
it.
extra pen. Give me
And don't sit back there, then I forget you're here, Pete. I forget you're here.
all right.
You'll hear me.
I know. Well, wait for him to sit down. We have the minutes. I don't know how many of you actually go and print them off if you're the board members, but they're on the website. I went through the minutes from the last meeting. It's when you don't meet everything, these are February minutes. And made all of the changes that I see. So I don't know any other change to make. If anyone else has a comment that want to make any changes to the minutes, you can. Otherwise, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes and move on to the next item.
Motion to approve.
Okay, vote.
All in favor to
Yep.
approve the minutes? Approved.
6 of 7.
6 of 7. All right, before you move on, Doug, I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce one of my new staff members here. I've got Nathan Nally. He's coming on as my project manager. So you're going to start seeing a lot more of him at some of these meetings across the board, especially if you attend multiple board meetings or committee meetings. So
Welcome aboard.
How many days have you been here?
This is 4.
He's very experienced in the process.
So we're throwing him a bit into the deep end with you guys. So start him off soft with the Ponds Committee.
You want to put the next one on the thing? So is there any public comment? I don't think there's any public here except members of the group. So why don't we go to the March financials? You will see this is the first report that has come out that has capital at the bottom of it. That we actually, I didn't know what we did when we went through and did a capital budget. Until I got March data and the capital numbers are on the bottom of there. And those are ones that we could conceivably use within our budget. I don't know how that will all roll out yet, but right now you can see we were running underneath a budget of 804. If you go up there, and with the reserve or with the capital, there's a capital reserve as opposed to funds reserves. That number is 1,029,000. And it's already, the stuff that's in capital reserves, that, let's see, the residents already put that in there. It's already part of the tax. Give me the name of it.
Capital.
No, what's the tax? It's not called a tax.
Ad
It's
valorem.
Huh?
Ad valorem.
Ad valorem. It was all part of the ad valorem tax that people pay. And that's how that money got in there. It was taxed when it went in. That's where we're at. I think it could give us some, because we're pretty short this year because the Pond 36 bank restoration was over double what we thought it would be. But if you look down here, and I just, but I know, I care what the Gateway District says, and the Gateway District staff have given me an answer. So has Chelsea, just so you know.
Okay, forget all about that.
Say your name.
This is Bob. Historically, from inception, this group has covered point repairs, ponds, storm system repairs, and interconnects within the 804. It's always been in there. There was an opportunity, and there is an opportunity to create those categories under capital. But that should be a conscious decision. You don't have $1,029,000 in your budget to do that. You have 804. What we have done in the past is within the 804, whatever that number was. If we had a capital project that was going to take a lot of money, like aeration, pond bank repairs, cleaning, we spread it out over a number of years. So we never exceeded our 804 in any given year.
But the only difference I will say, Bob,
I wasn't done.
is, I know, is we've never had something at 300,000 in an individual project.
Oh, sure we have.
Well, let's just say we're challenged this year. And it's because of the fact we're restoring an entire bank that of a pond.
But this is Ed.
Yep.
PPAC transferred $100,000 from the reserve.
Right.
Its reserves to your 804 budget.
And it's not in there right. It's not in there right now.
To cover that.
Right.
And I just gotta say that all the stuff on the capital list, a lot of it was maintenance on other.
Right.
Not just this, it was maintenance items and items that were program items that were duplicative.
Yeah.
Of what each of the groups had in their departmental budget. But those capital get funded from the capital reserves.
Right.
And the capital reserves gets funded from the PPAC operating budget. And $1 million, I mean, there were a lot of things in that list.
Right.
It's all necessary.
And I don't, and it's not, let's just look at the stormwater system repairs. That's if you have to go in the pipe and the length of and how long that takes. So the capital budget has a number to replace certain amount of that pipe. That would not be a minor repair. So it's put in the capital and then spread over how many years? 25 years? Well, I got the chart. It's how many years it's spread over. And that's where it comes up with 25,000.
Harry, you want the chart?
No,
The only
that's
thing-
not how it should work.
The
Well, I'm
only
just saying
thing that
that's
this
the way
group
another-
has ever tapped into capital funds, other than 100,000 you talked about, was the boardwalk. That was $1 million.
Right.
And that went into capital. And that was truly the capital expense.
Well, so how about the roads?
I'm talking about components.
Oh, yeah.
You don't fund individual capital projects on a year-by-year basis like that. That's done at the capital reserves level. So when you have a $200,000 or $300,000 project, you budget that $200,000 or $300,000 project in that year and pull it from the capital reserves. But PPAC has been funding the capital reserve pot.
Right.
Based on the reserve study. You don't do that individual line items.
All I think
Individual year.
Well, Except that, what you said, that you don't fund it over year in the L&M. Let's call it the 804 L&M, for lack of a better term. But this group has funded multi-year capital expense items in the L&M. And you may continue to do it, or you may change it.
But most of that came out of the money from Lennar /
There was
WCI.
some early on.
The majority, millions of dollars.
Nothing came out of aeration from them.
No, I know.
Nothing came out of pond bank repair, except, or downspout repair. That was all he.
Right.
So there are instances that we did tap into. You're exactly correct, early on. But the last 5-6 years, we've always done it within O&M, knowing that we stretch out the projects that we. Right. Now, if we change that to what Ed is saying, if we go to the legitimate definitions of O&M, there's going to be so many transfers in and out, it's going to be very difficult to keep track of it.
But I don't think it's I think CDD, your board, and the.
This is your decision.
PPAC,
This is your
No.
decision.
I'm giving a capital budget from the capital study, which is a PPAC capital study. I'm giving that. And you guys at CDD approve that. All I'm saying, I don't make that
Do not
decision.
differentiate or do not get it in your head that because there is a capital improvement plan that stretches out 12 years, that you got to fund it every year. You do not. You couldn't
Okay.
afford to put.
Right.
It's just a vision. The pieces of it that you want to do in any year, given year, is what we should talk about, not the big thing. We go broke. We
I know.
make that 29, well, gotta lay out the whole pie. Just because it's in a capital improvement plan doesn't mean you're gonna budget it, doesn't mean you're gonna spend it. It's something to look at. My nickel's worth, you guys get the vote on, my nickel's worth, keep operating under your O&M the way you have it. Because if everybody's tapping it, we only put $200,000 a year into O&M, into capital. The roads alone are gonna be capital.
And if you want to put something in capital, only put in what you're going to spend in that year, the project that you're going to spend in that year. So when you look at the 25, only put in, if you want a capital project to do something, only put in what it's going to cost in that year. Not to try to spread a piece of future years. Because what you spend next year will come out of the capital reserve bucket. And DPAC has to figure out how much we're
Put
going
in
to
it.
fund that bucket.
But if you know right now that you're gonna fix X number of pond banks.
Right.
Over the next 3 years. Factored in your O&M, you never pull the capital. You can do what you can do in a year. If the price comes in, you do more. If the price goes out, you stretch it out. Then it's totally within your control. You don't need to go anywhere else to get money.
Well, like I said, the capital stuff is going to be done at the PPAC and CDD level. We will give our recommendation, but we do not approve that. We give a recommendation, but we don't approve
Right.
it.
And look at it and
Right.
see whether or not it makes sense to pull it
Right.
from the operational
Right.
budget or the.
Right.
The last thing they want to do is confuse.
I think it's so confused already, Bob.
It is.
I don't think
It is.
And this operation, way ponds is operated, has been so clear cut for 15 years.
And that's great, but we also have two other groups to start thinking about, and if there's a better way, we need to start.
All right, that really went off the rails.
Any other items?
Can I
for-
just make one comment? There is no SIRS in this, is there?
What?
Service.
No.
Structural
That is
integrity,
something that is reserved for
Repairs, yeah.
condominium.
yes,
since
but it's the
first
same
time.
principle though, same principle,
They must, they must fund the capital.
right?
By law. That's a
Yes.
change.
And here we don't, right? Okay. Thanks.
Now,
Bob.
now that one took a lot longer than I thought.
In other
Yes.
words, good job on getting the budget. figured.
Go to the budget.
Okay, you still had that, going back to that, you still had downside up there, didn't you?
This one?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, right
well,
there.
I'm talking about that's this year.
Oh, I thought-
This is still this year.
The next one's the next.
This is
Okay.
from October 23 through March 24.
Yeah.
All right, moving into the next item.
Just do the budget one.
Can we see that? Let me see if I can blow it up. I can blow it up a little bit more.
PPAC had a workshop on the budget for 2025. All the subcommittees were in that meeting to come up with version 1 of the budget. And this is version 1. The net is at the bottom, go down to the bottom, is the fact that we're really, where's the number, 815 versus the 809. But some of the increases came from things that were not in our budget before, like the fountains in the 3 ponds and things like that. So our budget is pretty well flat. But it's a little larger than we did in the past because we added things that we weren't doing within our budget for 2024. Okay?
So we need to increase our budget.
It all depends on what way you want to look at it,
Right.
Jim. Someone would say, well, last year it was 809, this year it's a higher number. But in the 809, we didn't have a budget for some of the things that we're
The
doing.
scope is big.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now go up a little more, and Bob, you can see where's, I'm trying to go up to where the question you asked before. I'm trying to find it on the list. Downspout initiative, you can see there that the budget is 25K. You see it?
No.
Yeah, highlighted there at the very bottom of the screen, it's 25.
Oh, it's on the right-hand side?
Right here.
Right there, 25K,
Still don't see it.
Blue, right where my cursor's at.
right there. You see that one? Highlighted 25,000 is what is in that number. And if you go up,
Wait, that's for 25?
yeah, that's for next year. Now, if you look at going, where is,
Before you leave it, why are you gonna have it in there? It's done.
there's still some things to clean up.
Punch
let's just
list,
call it.
punch list items.
From the original contracts or new items?
No, to clean up some of the original items.
And didn't we add another?
And the fact that we have to start planning for Ravenna, which never, that we, as a group, earlier this year, we said we were going to do Ravenna. And we just didn't do it. Okay, because they weren't part of the original thing, because they didn't have gutters. Now look at where is the 300? I'm trying to, is that down further?
Yeah.
The bank of restoration, 300,000. You see where it says 300,000, Bob? That's what we got for erosion, bank erosion.
That's what you want to spend next year.
Yes. 300,000.
Do it all in 1 year.
No, that's one pond. That's one
I
pond.
thought you were doing one this year.
We are, but that's just one more pond. We got a list of ponds to do. I mean, if you looked at the Tetra Tech report, there were 7 ponds that needed to be done that did not meet Florida Southwest Water Management criteria. There were 7.
I think 43 is the next. one.
Yes, and it's a big one too.
36 is the one for here. 43 is the next one, and that's another big one. That's the one on the other side between Karina and Julie.
No, probably they're about the same.
Yeah, it looks about the same, but I think the scope of 36 was a little bigger. The cost
It's a little bigger.
was
It costs the,
higher.
but I mean, you're looking at, we could probably do 2 ponds, a small one and a big one next year for 300,000, just 2. And still a multi-year project.
But then we're circumventing the priority list that we paid them to provide us with.
Yeah.
We skipped their
Right.
number 2 pond to spend the same amount of money on 2 other ones. Well, we,
Yeah.
why prioritize if we're gonna
Right.
say, well, I want to do 5 little ones just to,
But Bob, that number 300K, it's how much we knew one cost us, 36 cost us this year. That's one. Number 2 is taking the downspout initiatives that was closer to 275 and transferring that money over to erosion and only put 25K in downspout initiative.
Dan had something.
So Daniel Potter, Gateway Services. I'm going to inject, when you look at a Tetra Tech report, it's based on a time and space of when that was done.
Yeah.
So we definitely do need to come back as a committee and do a sanity check on that. I'm learning that on the safety and security side of the house with roadways. There was a report provided on that one with priority listing of roadways for, disrepair that needed to be taken care of. And then when we actually went out on the ground and did some, site exploration of our own, we realized that there was some priorities that could be shifted. So I wouldn't get too,
We did it. first.
yes,
Tetra Tech did the satellite.
Yeah.
So we did exactly what you said. That was the first thing we done.
I agree. But there's some flexibility in the priority list. It's not that it's
Well,
it's not a complete tangible item.
You have to add the budget to whatever priority initiative. you have.
Yes.
Within reason. So I say that because I am dealing with that on the other side of the house,
Okay.
with the Safety and Security Council, where we're doing roadways one by one, trying to keep it within in the budget, because we understand that the capital budget is more of a conglomeration of people withdrawing from it, so that I don't eat through that entire reserve.
But say the next pond was gonna be 400,000. We could, instead of, well, we only have 300 budgeted, we'll sit on 100, do 200 little things.
Yep.
Right.
And then they have the
Right.
400 for next
Absolutely.
year when we go back. This way we're balancing what we can do,
Right.
what we can pay for.
But the ponds reserves that we've had in the past, what Ed said, we took 100,000 to do the one pond this year.
Mhm.
How was the
Right.
ponds reserved? Because we didn't have enough. It was budgeted at 100, then I'll just use round numbers.
Yeah.
It
because
was
that's what we
budgeted
thought it
around
would be.
100, it ended up being 200.
Right. But now, we should have a better idea of
Right.
what our costs are going forward, so
Right.
that we'd be able to plan.
Right.
better within our budget, what we can realistically do, or what's bigger. I realistically, if we knew it was gonna be that high for 36, we could put it off for a year. If we needed to balance and come up, find the money. Like I said, you know, this isn't hard and fast that you have to do it in sequence 1, then 2, then 3,
No.
because you have to pay for it. You have to.
I just don't know where the violating the erosion for the Southwest Water Management.
9 inches.
How, yeah, I know, but I know that number, but I don't know what happens if you don't.
They're never gonna see done. They're never-
Well, oh, I know, we've had the problem on these ponds for quite a while, Bob. But I don't know what that is. You might know, Daniel. I don't know, you know, if you
We've
have.
never been threatened, not even in Gateway.
It's not a problem until a resident picks up the phone and calls somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you that, you know,
If you could show a plan.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, what
You know what I
I'm saying
mean?
is you have to have a plan to address it, but you can't do it instantaneous.
It's the shame of this, I'm reading talking, because all of these are new fellows, is that we didn't get the world. That's the shame, that's what,
I think there was, something happened.
whatever, they're not there, and that's why we agree. So the lesson learned is that damn sure it was total. You can avoid all of this stuff.
wearing the Pelican hat. I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
The Gateway hat, we do ponds
Gateway's a whole
differently.
other can of
Whole
worms.
different can of worms. So
Right.
Pelican hat on for that one.
What we need to do here is, if we look at the bottom, we're increased, if you, increasing by, what's that, 3.86% our budget. Year on year, 24, 25. 31,000 of that increase is on things that we did not do in the past. So really, it's a flat plan. I think, well, it depends on the way you look
If
at
you're
it.
increasing money, it ain't a flat plan. I don't care why, but it ain't flat, it's increased.
But you increase the scope.
Now, there's a question, the scope changed.
Yes.
There were those, the prior responsibility. Their budget is gonna look really good.
Well,
Not
PP
really good, is it?
No, it's,
Kind of a moot
it's a
point, but-
nit when you look at their, when you're talking about PPCA.
Well,
was
say,
doing the fountain.
say it was landscape.
Yeah.
Now, and it's $20,000 just to pick a sum to
Yeah.
operate the pumps. Well, they're gonna have a $20,000
Say
benefit,
Right.
Right,
which we're gonna be eating $20,000.
Right.
That $20,000 should follow
right.
from their pie to our pie.
It don't, Bob has brought that down
You
too
can't,
low.
you can't mix public money with private money.
But
And the specific increase that we didn't know we were getting and got, lay it right out, was the 3 fountains around the town center. That was an $80,000 on average yearly expense that was always paid by ICON. When we transitioned to the private community association, someone, we have not returned to, told FPNL to no longer bill the community association, to bill the district. The bills came in the district, and the district paid. That was an $80,000 change. I was all set to challenge it, so I found out we should have been paying it all along. So I decided to shut up. But that's the change.
Yeah.
The question before this group is, or it should be, are they really worth $80,000 a year?
we have that on the list. And
Okay, well, I
it's
mean,
been
but-
tabled before.
I know, I'm just saying. Is it really worth $80,000 a year?
That's not on the agenda,
and-
Bob.
Can we, and can we run it 8 hours a day? Do we need to run 12 hours? They're the things that y'all can consider.
Might take down the internet if that comes out.
I don't know. People know what it costs, they might think different.
Yeah, you'll have.
I
These screens,
Yep.
yay, these screens, nay, and,
We have to work
um,
fiscally responsible.
It,
yes.
by the way, Bob, that is on our detailed 35 issue list that you have on the gateway. And Lou is the one that brought it up, and it was tabled at that time until we gathered all the information. Okay?
I think you're also paying for the one
22,
22. Unless that's not.
we never have paid unless you know something I don't know.
You didn't know
One
before,
that's
Bob.
being paid by day.
Let me know that meter and we'll get that stuff. That's all the way.
I'm
Send it to me.
Did you say pond 22?
Yeah.
Pond 22's found.
We have nothing to do with Pond 22. It's totally, or totally, the club.
Yeah, I mean, I sent that up numerous times. So.
And if the 80,000 is inclusive of
It's not, it's
22.
not even, each fountain about 1,000 a month.
Well, it's.
But their maintenance,
Yeah,
at least give them the one big number.
And that 80,000 was also repairs, maintenance, all the whole ball of wax.
Does the 80,000 include 22 though?
Shouldn't.
No,
No,
Okay, that's just.
that was, the maintenance was something they just did recently, because they've never been maintained.
Oh, no, I didn't. But Terry.
No, they weren't making it.
Because she tried to get us, they didn't do the lights,
hey,
but the pumps were always free.
the maintenance was paid for as is, or, when it broke, what is it called? That it's not, it was not a maintenance contract. It break fixed. It was only a break fix on the fountains.
Yes.
And unless they weren't there, they were never cleaned. There was a lot of things that were not done. They were, that we never maintained them except break fix.
That's
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to mention, maintain a sign on 22.
This says Pond 22?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's get back on track here. I don't, we could keep.
Mind derailing?
Yeah, sure.
Shut up.
Not gonna be on time.
Well, what we need to do is to go forward, we need to have a recommendation, our recommendation of a group. Do we go forward with a flat plus increase for the new items? The board needs to vote on that. So the 3.86, this is a recommendation that goes to PPAC. And then PPAC will make a recommendation and reiterate a budget at a higher level, including our budget, to go to CDD for final approval. So what we need to do is, as a pond subgroup board, is say, are we okay with the 3.86, a flat, doing 300,000 for erosion of and hopefully we can do a pond for that. And going forward, that is our recommendation as a pond.
But didn't PPAC already give you a recommendation?
No, we're giving them a
They're
recommendation.
giving us the raise.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you already told me about 55.
We have said that's our goal,
Okay.
but, we
Yeah,
need
no.
to listen to what they say.
So what is does anyone give me a motion?
So now our increase is that basically covering what our scope increases?
Yeah, the 31K is what the increase is, and that's for the scope creep, for lack of a better word, that occurred.
So our budget is really flat compared, well,
Apples to apples,
right.
apples to apples, let's just say apples to
Right.
apples, it's flat.
We
Apples
increased
to
our,
oranges
we increased
is
our,
different.
our responsibility
Right.
by $31,000.
Yes.
That means you're going up?
Yes,
But Bob, yes,
Would you guys consider lessening the scope of your ponds restoration by the amount?
that could be a thing that we would look at.
I mean, it would.
We
it
would
slow
not
us
do,
along
we,
that, But we know we're gonna be slow.
we might not be able to do the biggest one
Correct.
if you did that.
Correct.
Ever.
But you still have your ponds operating reserves that has.
That we spent half of. The 100K we took is half of it. We got another 100K in there, but that's it.
Right. Right, so. You know, that can make up any shortfalls or any nuance of your operating, you start going over. I mean, last year you were under budget, the year before you were under budget. And so even if you maintain it flat with last year, you still have your ponds operating reserves that you can draw on to make up any shortages.
It doesn't affect our guys below.
so we're saying
They
they,
affect
instead of-
that non-ad valorem.
so instead of three, just to pick the big item on the budget, instead of saying 300 for bank improvement, we would say 270, and then we would be flat, whether it comes out of,
I
you
think
know, a
it's,
smaller amount.
I think it'll change again. I mean, the last time Bob came back and asked for 50K more,
Well,
after
that's
we
what
have our
we're
final
asking
thing.
for now.
Huh?
I would say that's what we're asking you guys to look at right now. Don't wait for Bob to tell you.
Right.
Look at it, make your best decision so we don't have to do this iteration.
Correct.
Okay, so instead of a 30,000 decrease from this, we're looking for a 50 decrease?
We look for 40,000 taken off of your pond bank restoration funding.
Okay.
That's my easiest answer that I can.
Well, it's actually 31. 31K would be exactly flat.
Okay,
And Ted's point. You got that.
right, so if you came back at that, then you could move it later on. And still do it. Without an increase.
Without any-
Someone want to make a recommendation on what we do?
I'll make a recommendation on that. Was we can, this, being said, if this next sequence pond was going to be 300, and now we only have 270, we could save some money, knowing next year we should also have 270. Do a smaller pond or two, leave a pot, do that one the following year, knowing, again,
Or pull 30,000 from the operating reserves to.
right, if something else came in,
Okay,
you know. as a
is that your
pool,
recommendation?
That's my recommendation.
Okay, what is the-
So that would be to go with a flat, no increase.
Take the 31K out.
31,000 from the 300,
Okay, 269?
269,
Okay,
and that will be the fund bank.
is there a second?
Second that.
Okay, the vote?
Can I have a question first?
Absolutely.
So where's 39? Is the number that I'm seeing that is your new funding.
31 increase, I don't-
New-
That,
a 39 new at the bottom.
Well, that's things that would, that's things I tried to put together of how much of it is ongoing, how much of it is on one
That's
now.
not the differential.
Right,
No.
that's not the differential. I tried to bucket things into three
I-
different buckets. The 31 is what it increased, our budget actually increased year to year. All right, we voted, what did you vote? Lou, did you vote? Okay, we voted, what's that, 2, 4, 5 to 1. Okay,
So just to reiterate it for the records. You voted and approved to move forward with the budget as is, reducing the $31,000 increase. So you have a flat budget moving forward.
correct.
Right.
Correct.
Our
Okay.
budget moving forward is 804.
you go against?
Yeah.
Fucking ass.
Well, no, we don't need to know why. You don't have to justify your vote. You guys can have a sidebar afterwards.
We're spending too much money, Bob, that's right.
Okay? Got that down, Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
You want, what's the next thing? Was it capital?
Oh, sorry.
Entrance fountains.
Wait,
That's
Did
why
did we
had-
finish out? Because there was other items that were in the budget listed that you wanted to look at. Any of these other items?
Well, we're gonna do the capital was different. We could do capital now if you want.
Just to stay on that before
Okay.
we move.
Okay, bring up capital. This is the second year of, that we've done capital, and we didn't change it from last year. We can debate, maybe the capital, putting a plan in place, multi-year thing, it still needs to be that way, to replace interconnect pipe. It doesn't mean you need to spend that every year, but you have to have some form of money for those things.
This is it. The Gateway had a reserve study done and
Right.
it looked at all of those capital projects
Right.
that would be done. You know, it said, hey, like the boardwalk needs to be replaced for maybe 1.2 million, 30 years from now. And put that out there. The reserves and the reserve study, when I looked at it, it's missed a lot of things, but it said we need to contribute 160,000. It's on the bottom line, 160,000 next year into capital reserves to fund those capital projects when they come up.
And that's for all the stuff.
That's for
Everything.
everything. PPAC has been funding the capital reserves at 200,000 a year to fund that pot of capital reserves. The plan now is what projects that might be capital do you anticipate in the next 5 years, and what are those dollars going to be in what year? It's not, we're gonna put away $25,000 a year because we might do a project 5 years from now that's $125,000. That's what the capital reserve contribution is that PPAC is putting in based on reserve study. So you need to identify any capital projects that you would do in what year and what they may cost.
If you look at their 25 years was on the stormwater system and 25 years was on the interconnect pipes, where in 25 years, you're going to have to replace some of that infrastructure that's underground. That's what that numbers are, but it's not 5 years, it's 25.
Right, but that, all of that is accounted for and spread out over the 25 years in the reserve study.
Okay,
So all you have to identify, is there
there's
a
only four.
stormwater system repair that you're going to do next year, and what would that cost?
We don't need capital for that.
But we don't have anything repaired.
Right.
We don't have a repair.
Right, we don't have a repair, but we don't, if we did have a repair, we fix it within the O&M budget.
Well, or a replacement.
Right,
Right, so this is saying that, say, the pond interconnect pipe repair.
yes,
This, for that perspective, this is its expected life expectancy is 25 years, it's gonna collapse and we have to replace it.
Correct.
That's what that comes from. If there's needs to be cleaned, that's a normal
Okay.
operating
That's all in
budget.
there.
If there's a crack, we will fix it.
right,
So this says, but this is on a plan of 25 years.
right.
Those should say.
This should say when
Yeah.
it's estimated, because 25 years, well, in 5 years, that still says 25 years. We're just saying it's some future unknown date, instead of saying it's already 20 years old. We expect it to at least last 5 more years, and then we better.
You shouldn't have anything in that line.
Daniel, can you get Laura to change that from place? Because that's really what it is.
Yeah, so I agree with you. When you look at a capital budget, you're looking at the lifespan of an asset. And if you are rehabbing it or refurbing it back to a factory setting, it's capital. If you are putting in new, it's capital. If you're doing a point repair or restoration on a 1 point, that's O&M.
Right.
So,
What do you
Yeah.
consider pond restoration? Papers.
well, see, you're bringing it back to a factory setting. So,
Those could be.
Historical.
capital.
yeah.
Yes, no, they could be capital.
Plus, you're looking at dollar sign of project too.
Historically.
It didn't actually say, it's historically, but not accurate.
Yeah,
So in all reality,
True.
we should
You're
almost
true.
plan for a bank restoration
right.
every, say, let's say 25 years, we won't be there.
Well, the ones that we repair back to are holding up really well. We may not have to do that. Yeah, the point was, we're doing these because we have a goal.
Right, it was never,
The long-term replacement, say, is accounted for in the reserve study and the funding of the capital reserves. All you should be identifying here are specific replacement projects
In the next
that
12
need to
months.
be done in the next, that you anticipate in the next 5 years. So
The only one here that we anticipate in the next 5 years will be erosion, bank erosion of the 7 ponds. That's the only one.
and you're currently funding those out of your operating budget. If
With-
you want to change that, you could then change that next year, but you would then reduce that 300,000 out of your operating
Correct.
budget.
I agree with that. You can't double count.
You can't double count.
I agree with that.
from what you're saying is, say, the one we're gonna do, 36.
Yes.
That in all reality should be capped.
Yes.
Because you're doing,
Probably
you're basically doing the whole
Depreciated
pond.
over the life.
If
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
If there's spend spots, now you're spot fixing stuff. This is on an operating budget. But something to that extent for the 3
Yeah.
big ponds, basically you're resetting them to,
Back to a factory
Factory
setting so that,
setting.
rehabbing it back to its, you restart the clock on that lifespan when you do that. Now, if you did a point repair, if you were just doing a one specific spot, now that falls in your
Right.
O&M, right?
And the fallacies reserve study did include a lot of those.
Things like this.
In its reserve study, so.
now,
You
how
know, if
could
you
we?
wanted to shift it, we could do that, but then we would have to increase our capital reserve funding to accommodate some.
But you still would want pond erosion in capital. That doesn't mean you don't, you use O&M to fund it. What I'm saying is you still have to have the capital, if you need it, in the capital budget to do the ponds.
Not if you're doing it in the O&M.
At the year,
Well,
you
Can
would.
can I inject?
At the
Sorry.
year you anticipate doing that replacement project, then you would have that item in the capital.
If it exceeds what you got allocated in O&M.
The way that I've done it in past budgets, previous, much larger scale, I had both. There was an O&M line item that was, erosion for O&M. That was your point repairs with things that we identify that are just one-time fixes, Band-Aids essentially. And then you had your I'm rehabbing, refurbing back to a factory setting type projects. Still labeled the exact same thing. One's just cap, one's O&M. Or
And then calendar year. You can do
maintenance and
both.
repair is what R&M, repairs and maintenance, is how the district labels O&M in the budget.
Because there is an expected lifespan of a pond, even without bank restoration need.
Yes.
So this should be something under capital or eventually needing to rehab
Right.
ponds, even ones that we.
I do believe for your capital side of the house, you should have a cyclical plan to attack these pond restorations, bringing them back to, the standards. Also, you should have a smaller budget outlined in your O&M for repairs, minor repairs as they pop up. To, again, it's to extend the life of that lake, but it's only a minor repair. So I think you should probably have one in each bucket.
But if you weren't going to, like, pond interconnect pipe. called
Right.
Replacement.
Replacement.
If you're not don't anticipate doing any replacements in the next 5 years, there wouldn't necessarily have to be a line for that in the capital budget.
It would just be a zero budget.
Zero.
It would be a zero budget. It would be a line item, but it wouldn't have a allocated budget to it.
When it might
Right,
happen.
because you're not gonna just plan on paying for it the 5 years prior. You want to pay 5% a year for 20 years and.
So if they want to have it in there, but it's a zero for the next 5 years, that's fine.
The thing is where we're at now, anticipation of 25. We do not envision using any capital in 25. Okay? If we put 300 in O&M, we're not going to use capital for that. And the other three are multi-year, way out there, 25-year type thing. In the next 5 years, I don't think we're going to do pond interconnect pipe replacement. We're not going to do stormwater system replacement. Yes, I think you're right, Bob. You should use the word replacement. And the other is point repairs should have never been in there.
Right.
So my anticipation is that they would, next year would be zero, but they should still be in a capital long-term, greater than 5-year type of view of the situation.
Well, I like having it on there because.
Yeah.
It's under the umbrella that it's being put into it while you don't have a specific amount yearly because it's a farther anticipation.
Well, I mean, another one is like the golf course or the golf cart around the preserve.
Yep.
Now, at some point, that's gonna have to be resurfaced. That'll be a capital,
Absolutely.
and that's just something that, hey, when it comes in the 5-year plan, it could then pop into that. That's why, there's a lot of items that are in that long-term view.
Yeah.
The capital reserve looks at dredging the ponds.
But as long as we know that you're saving the money towards that over a long-term period, and not like, oh,
That's what the reserve
we,
says.
we. But like you said, there's a lot of things that.
Let the people
aren't
20 years
clear.
from now pay for it.
That's your, yeah. Let me make,
Still be here.
let me make a recommendation of how we get it. First of all, you guys, PPAC, are going to fight about this because I already know that. Disagreement.
It's debating. Just debating.
Okay, let's make a recommendation. I'll make the recommendation. I recommend that we remove point repairs from the capital. Okay, we make the storm system repairs, make that replacement. And we do the same with pond interconnect replacement. And we fund that next year at zero because we're looking at a multi-year type thing, okay? And then the other thing is the ponds, which is the erosion of an entire pond. We take that to zero because we're funding it next year out O&M.
Question now, the stormwater system repairs.
Yes.
Expected, like, do we know when that should need to be replaced? You may have a better understanding from other communities.
It's not
Yeah,
next
it-
year.
Full replacement?
Yeah.
I mean, that, there's variables involved in that. The
Yeah.
usage.
Yeah.
The wear and tear on it, things like that. Believe it or not, I've opened up sewer lines, for instance. If you use a sewer line at a 30% utilization rate versus at a 70% utilization rate, believe it or not, when you crack open a 70%, it looks brand new compared to one that's only been used at a 30%. And the only reason is the oxidation gets at the pipes. So as it sits and settles, so when you look at a system like this, the more frequent the touch point cleanings are, that you expand that life almost indefinitely. You're not with this item because it's not such a utility rate.
I'm going to bring up at PPAC, just so you're aware, the potential of us having split capital reserves for each of the three subcommittees. I believe it's probably a good thing to sit and look. I don't know if that's a not yes or, but because right now we're pooled. And so we're saying in this group, oh, we're not saying that. We could take 300,000 each year from this to do our pond-based restorations. Roads are saying we could take 300,000 each year for their roads. And pretty soon we're going to be saying, but that was mine.
Yeah, there's,
We put that.
And we didn't even fund 300,000 total.
Yeah, yes.
Now just put things in
So
perspective.
I want to bring that up and I want you guys to be aware that I think that would be a good safety valve for us moving forward, knowing how much we've got. So we don't have these scars in our eyes about how much money is actually.
What, are you okay with the motion I made to take all of them to zero for next year, 2025?
I think that's
And delete point repairs, so it should have never been in there.
correct.
And collect the language on repairs to replace. Okay, will that be okay from PPAC?
And I would also say under ponds, if you could change just the word ponds to both restoration and dredging or something like that, that would be. more
Okay.
pleasant.
Okay. On ponds erosion / dredge. Are we okay with that motion?
Full restoration, it's not a partial.
Right. restoration.
One of the things you might want to say next year and 5 year for this plan.
Okay.
Zero amount. But the only thing might be is, would you anticipate doing your ponds restoration, moving it to the capital structure next year? Or should you just,
I don't, someone else can figure that out, is whether or not it's better off to have O&M at 300 and taking 300 out of it's 300. I don't care what bucket it comes from. As long as it's not where we increase one and don't decrease the other, they have to match.
But if it was a capital item, you'd only get 5% of that charge a year in your operating budget. We'd get hit with 300,000 a year.
Right.
Your operating budget will drop dramatically because it's amortized over the life of the asset.
The system that we've used for the past 15 years has worked well for this group to consider long-term projects. Because you can commit, like we took 8 years to do the downtown. We knew we were gonna spend millions, but it took 8 years to make. So it keeps the money within the group. Now, we didn't have safety and security, we didn't have this, so it was isolated to this one group, but it served this group well up to now.
But it also sounds like it's almost transition to where we're going to capital budgets.
Right.
And it's
And that's-
to get to know that transition, you might.
But by the way,
That's a
yeah,
decision.
what you
made.
just said is totally true. Until last year, we didn't even have a capital.
And
Right, and you realize,
We didn't even
It's a
have
hit every year, it
it.
sounds
Yeah, Right.
well, you basically just did maintenance, operations and maintenance up until this point. We've reached the age of some of the facilities
Right.
where they have to be reconstructed, and that's what's bringing us.
Well, from an airplane for that, but not from installation. Because we installed aeration, we installed, we installed downspouts, we installed a lot of things.
It was just done.
We did it within a different philosophy.
But- I will, Is that okay with that motion for P-PAC standpoint? You find,
I can't speak for PPAC, but I.
that's why I asked, not for a vote, but from P-PAC. Would that be adequate for you for going back to the P-PAC group? The things that I say.
That from my perspective as a part.
Right, as the president
I
of
would say
PPAC.
it's acceptable.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Do we want to vote on that?
You made it, you got it.
Yeah, we have to vote on it. Well, yeah,
Daniel, scroll down, just before, I think you might want to add one thing.
This incorporates, I think, everything.
yeah. We only had the 4 things in capital in ours.
No, but down, go back up. Well, under roadways, downspout initiative. That's not a roadways, that's down there. The third item under,
Yeah,
that should also be 0.
Needs to be
You add that to
deleted.
your motion.
okay.
I'm gonna go up a little bit.
Yeah,
One other refinement then. There's something in there about boardwalk parking, and I contacted Yannabelle because she put it in, and asked her what it was, she had no idea.
Yep.
It had
We're going
something
to
to
do
do
that
with,
this year.
that's community association, it's not us,
Right.
so that'll be for the adults.
Right.
Include that.
We'll include deleting the downspout initiative. And the boardwalk parking, we did some outside the boardwalk. We've not done any
You
inside.
did that, but this is.
But Hans
Yannabelle's
group
side.
did it.
Yeah, but this is Yannabelle's side.
Well, we don't need to vote on the outside of our group.
They don't get to vote.
All right, we have a motion, a second, and let's take a vote.
Can you recap that one last
Okay.
time for the record, what you all just said yes to?
We're going to, let's start up at the waterway. We're going to delete point repair. Okay, we're going to delete the boardwalk parking. We're going to change ponds to erosion/dredging.
Ponds are inside.
Right. And we're going to change stormwater, storm system repairs and pond interconnect pipe to restoration. And we're taking them all to 0 for next year, 2025. Replacement. And then the other thing we deleted it was downspout initiative.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think we already said that. Yeah.
Got it?
Got it.
Okay.
And I know it took you off time schedule, but I think it was a really valuable conversation. So thank you very much for that.
I'd like to add that you come back at some point to discuss this after maybe Peggy and
Right.
PPAC come and break out the capital underneath
Right.
PPAC so that each section has their own capital reserve. You start looking at the next 5 to 10 years and which ponds based on priority list and when you template to actually hit those. And
Sure.
one nugget on there, so you get a little more granular in here. You go, hey, we're gonna do
36 and
pond,
25.
what was it?
43.
Pond erosion and repairs, and then you got the fiscal years, and then you outline dollar signs that you're attaching when you're gonna hit those and which years you're trying to hit them in.
Right, for capital, as opposed to
O&M,
Band-Aids.
correct. You still have I think you still need to have an O&M, a line item in there
Right.
for point repairs on the O&M side of the house, and on the capital side, when we're doing major infrastructure upgrades, that you have a budget out there and that you're putting years in there. So like with us, when we're looking at vehicles, we have an Excel sheet that says all the vehicles to the side for you guys that can be all intents and purposes, all the ponds to the side and the priorities. And then you say which year you think you're going to hit it and what money you want to allocate during those years for that.
It's in all reality, the ponds that were looked at, we only identified ones that were immediately. in need.
Catastrophic.
What
Right.
were identified as immediately needing
Repair.
to be addressed. Not to say that other ponds in a couple of years aren't going to be in that position too, even
Absolutely.
without any further, eating. So that's a great thing with planning on a operational budget side, knowing that some of these are reaching their end of
Useful lifespan.
lifespan and will need to be.
The good side of the
Only
capital,
young People say useful life.
Bad crap, use that term.
you do the capital side of the house and you outline it over a 20 to 30 year plan of all So you create an initiative or a program that outlines all of the ponds over 30 years so that there's a touch point, and then you're allocating time based on a priority list. You say when you're going to hit all 36 ponds or however many ponds that you have across that time frame.
Plus with doing this, we already know when these ponds were built and completed, when they're when they're going to most likely need to be restored. So you really have a good idea of their future lifespan of when it's going to be needing to be addressed again.
Absolutely. And now we're talking asset management life cycles.
Because then you can really say, okay,
Then you can get ahead of it. You're proactive on it versus being reactive to an item across the board. So
I think when I looked at the reserve studies that we had a Pelican part of it, I think we need a new Pelican reserve study that really has your folks' input on some of it and really looks at all the assets out there and what you're like.
And that's would be a PPAC request. That would not be.
And we may almost have to do that before we could get to Peggy's thing of splitting it up very well.
to understand what we need to include in it, and make sure that it is being funded at a realistic level.
Yeah, because when we looked at the roads, you know, they don't even didn't propose doing any road replacements for about 5 years. So we already identified that, hey, we need to start a multi-year program. So
There's a bridge or two that are.
Kind of like the road to center route came up.
Right.
Okay,
It's a lot of work to do. That's all we want.
Moving right along.
yeah, moving right along. We have been trying to get some contracts in place, the entry fountains, when you come into Pelican, on the right, when you first come in, you know, they're up about the water level, from on this side. I met with 2 different vendors, have 2 bids. One of them was the current Ocean Blue. They currently maintain those 2 ponds. And they came back with a bid without replacing the pumps of 15,900. Is it 15,899? Close enough, 15,900. Then the other with Pool Trooper, I think this one in here.
do you want with fountain lights or the pumps and valves?
The fountain,
Fountain lights.
yes.
Yes, sir.
That's the thing.
It's close to the same, except the 920 has been deleted from this invoice because we are tax free. So that 920 taxes is deleted.
So
This,
14.
Just 14,157.
yeah, yeah. So we went to a second one and they gave us this bid. And because I said I wanted 4-foot high water streams, fountains, and I wanted color lights. So at nighttime, there are color lights on. Okay, I want to, if you look at it right now, it's pretty bad what we have up there. But the good thing about Pool Trooper is that they came back and said, if you do that without changing the pumps, it's just going to be about the size of your little peak. The stream 4 foot high, but you won't even see because they're 3/4 horse motors, pumps that are in them. And you would need 3 horse motors to be able to get what we're looking for. And that came from Pool Troopers. The Ocean Blue, they just didn't even bring that up. Okay, so if you look at did you go back again, the last, the pumps,
937.
the pumps are 890 something.
7593
That's what the 2 pumps would be, and they'd be 3 horsepower pumps.
on top of the 14.
On
So the
top of
14 and 7 comes to 21.
Right, or whatever the math in your head, yeah, close enough, less than 25, let's just put it that way.
Doug, is this for the fountains just outside of the main gate?
Yeah, there's.
Not
there's-
at the tree line fountains?
No, they're done. Tree line fountains are done.
Those tree line fountains are
We're
gone.
talking about turned off.
Well, they're
Yeah,
turned off.
what I mean, we don't have.
Okay, I was
Collodion.
I was just asking for clarity.
No,
Just
we're-
only at the entryway of.
Only at the entryway on the 2 fountains on each side of the entryway when you come in.
Okay.
Okay, by done, I mean, they're done.
Those are Carroll fountains.
Yeah, the Carroll fountains, Carroll real estate.
Yeah.
So my take, is, my recommendation to the group would be to go with Pool Trooper. Because of the fact they did a better job of analyzing the problem or what we were trying to
We
accomplish.
don't want to end up with somebody doing it.
Well, I don't want to spend $16,000 and be in the same state that we were
With
before.
a pencil street.
Right. And the other thing is, I went behind the monument, which was being maintained by Ocean Blue. The overflow or the water overflow was broken, which was leaking back there. And the actual big filters for the pumps, when they replaced them, they just threw them on the ground.
And also
Okay,
I don't know, Doug, if they were maintaining the center island fountain, there's
No,
actually,
there is
there's
no-
a little fountain that comes out of
Yeah.
the monument
The other
itself,
thing is.
which is broken.
It is broken. Well, not only is
Well, it's
broken,
just
it's
not
cemented, shut on the back. But the other thing is pool troopers agreed to the two little same type thing on the fascia of them. Is going to get the water coming out of there too.
Also,
There's the same thing you're talking about
So
is on
multi.
both of them.
Okay.
So they're going to fix that too in that number.
So make a motion.
I did.
Okay.
I recommend we go with pool troopers.
Is there something that you wanted to mention?
I just wanted to help for clarity.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing, Doug, is that you want to go with Pool Trooper for both of their proposals, for both the install of the new pump plus the maintenance and O&M side of the house for the 14,000.
The 14,000
Per-
doesn't include maintenance.
Okay.
The 14,000 is to install different jets in the thing,
Okay.
in the fountains, and it's to do with lighting.
So you want to go forward with both of Pool Trooper's proposals.
Right.
That's what's on the floor.
Not to exceed 25.
This is just to upgrade the two fountains.
That's to upgrade the two fountains and, well, if you include the pumps, yes.
And they will be maintaining them?
That's a different,
Different.
the answer is they're getting me, once they install all the stuff, they're getting me a maintenance contract to maintain them. And I've already talked to Laura, and there's no contract in place with Ocean Blue, so that we could cancel that. It's not like we have a penalty or anything like that to cancel. And Ocean Blue is giving staff, giving Laura gray hair. Ocean Blue,
Well, and what we've seen,
yes.
that they're not being negligent.
Right. And what was,
Got a motion and a second.
yeah, we had actually a third vote to approve.
Yeah.
All right, 6
Okay.
or 5 vote.
Did they say how long it takes to approve?
I think they told me before it'd take a week. Yes,
What's the issue with, is the center one that we're supposed to spit out?
it's actually cemented behind it. The line is cemented. He's going to look at it for us. Pool Trooper is going to look at it for us to see what it would cost to get that going.
Because I think.
It's not in the,
Also.
it's not in this.
I think that is also something that would be, addressed to further enhance the entrance.
To detract away from the signs.
This is,
It would have to be a really big fountain to detract away from the sign.
I think I saw a number that we as a community have like 17 fountains. That's including all the ones up here in the town center area. There's a lot of fountains. And most of them over time, they just cemented them shut. But they
Yes.
didn't want to be repaired, right?
Throughout the town center.
So, yeah, throughout the town.
Yeah.
And that one was cemented shut, the one he's talking
There's a whole
about.
bunch of them.
Yeah.
It's nice that we're refurbing.
And I think for the group, it's a big impact for the community. They're gonna say, who did that? Who did that? When they see a 4-foot thing with light, color lights at nighttime, people are gonna be impressed with the entry to our places. Right now, you don't even, it's pretty bad.
Came in last night, didn't notice anything.
Well, there's no lights.
Well, you come in today,
Yeah,
you
no
don't
lights.
notice anything.
Yeah. Well, most people don't come in until, come in the dark. Most people,
I came in in
they're
the
back.
dark.
We're here by
bed. Yeah, we're back in bed by then.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Unless your flight is delayed at O'Hare and you come in at 2:00 in the morning.
All right, we got 2 more things. Number 1 is the subcommittee. We have 3 members that are up for reelection because of the 2-year limit. The 3 members all submitted. Mike, I'm trying, Lou and and Lynn all submitted applications. There was, what? Pete, yeah, Pete,
Oh, he said-
Lynn, and Louis. They, three of them submitted, and there's 3 seats. So I motion that we accept them and go forward, you know,
You're gonna vote against
PPAC.
this, I don't know.
Do I have a second? Okay, vote.
He's voting.
Yeah, you're not voting because you don't want to do it, or you can't vote for yourself.
We can't vote for it. Can't vote for it.
I'll vote for Pete.
Want to do them individually?
What?
Did you want to do them individually?
Okay. Jim,
If you want.
okay with that?
Okay, yes.
You can vote on this because we need a form, okay?
Okay.
Right. Yes. Okay, we, to be honest, if we,
He meant individual members, but that's all right. We
Right.
got there.
We got them.
Move
I
right
know.
along.
all right, the last one is, that we have is Pond 36.
So all 3 members voted to stay.
Yeah, to go forward to PPAC for the recommendation is all 3 members.
Thank you for volunteering. And help out.
We have to figure out how to get, I tried to ask a couple other people if they wanted to be on the board. I've not got any successfully, but
They
would be
probably
good to
blocked-
have,
They probably blocked your phone number.
yeah, no, it would be good to have, you know, to have a change.
Yep, now Bob's against me.
All right,
Bob's against
But
everything.
he didn't get a vote.
I'm against that.
He doesn't get a vote.
You're gonna give us the money now.
this is the last thing. I just want you to be, hey, I just want you to be, understand where we're at from the Pond 36 bank relation. It's the biggest project we have. Here is the go through the project. That's supposed to start the 2nd week of June on that project. That's what the dewatering strategy, we're going to put, we agreed to do dewatering, they're going to put a submersible pump versus a pump on the bank, running a gasoline engine. They're going to use electric submersible, and there won't be the noise that exists in prior projects. I think it's great. They're going to run it 24/7. Whereas if it's on the bank, it's limited during the day and not on weekends. So they're going to be able to get the same capacity of water out of the pond to bring it down so that they can do the bank erosion. Okay?
Ken, have you seen them that way being used before?
Not on the gateway side of the house, but it is definitely a common
And they-
practice.
The one guy that's part of the project for CMB has done it with the pump.
Okay. How long
That-
does that
that-
run?
Why is a golf course involved? Is it on the golf? course?
Yeah, there's a small part out of the
At
bank.
very end.
There's a
Yeah,
small part of the bank that's involved.
The farthest side away from Cypress
Okay.
Grove.
Right.
That end is the golf course. Lined by both sides of the pond are residential, and then Cypress Grove down.
Not because they own it. That's what I was.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
So how long will that project take?
It'll take, if 2 to 3 months.
Months, I don't think weeks.
No,
It's slated for 120 days for the project. What I've been seeing is it's been typically coming in around 90 days
Yeah.
across the board.
I think they said 90 to 120 or something like that.
Yeah,
in the
we built in some buffers so that, every project manager wants to over deliver and under promise. So,
I did reach out to,
Yeah.
to Solitude for, to get a quote for replacing all the littorals.
When we're done, there'll be no
And they're looking
littorals.
to know closer to it
Right.
before they do it. They want to see. But I think with the print that we have, we could show them the exact areas that are going to be major addressed, which areas are not going to be addressed, but we're looking to have littorals planted there so they don't feel left out.
Yeah.
Plus, there's nothing on that.
Right.
There's very minimal on that.
And we have the budget to be able to do that.
It's just so important.
Are you coordinating with?
Because it takes really 5 years, 6
Yeah.
years before anything starts
Build up.
filling in.
Right.
I'd also look at the DO requirements for landscaping to ensure that you've got the correct amount of trees as well as plants. So that's at least something that I know I'm running into on
We
the
haven't
other side of the
taken-
house, but I don't know.
We have no
Not taking
trees.
any out, not
None.
adding any in. Okay,
None,
just making sure.
We never allowed,
In the right of way, we don't have.
the one guy that did it long, long.
Yeah.
So
So that's the deep water. The next thing on here is that I have contacted both Solera and Margarita, and we're going to schedule some meetings. I contacted the presidents of each of the boards. It's Margarita 1 and Solera. We're also going to bring the golf course in. We ain't gonna dig up a bank, be working on the bank on the fairway of one of the holes without having them engaged.
Or,
It just so happens that they are redoing that particular golf course,
So,
the fairways. Yeah, I don't. as long as
Well, but I
that-
still
I don't
want them
know
to
that
know.
we can
I still
confirm
want them
that.
to know. I
Right.
still want
Sure,
them to know.
they should know, but it shouldn't affect the course.
And since we're in May, they're looking, so they should be starting in about 6 weeks. Do they have an estimate when they're going to be talking to Solero, Margarita?
My
Warren?
plan would be in the next 3 weeks.
So that'll be 3 weeks.
And
in
we're
advance.
planning to do an event in the theater where the homeowners affected will be invited.
And we'll draft also as well with that as a letter to the HOAs to distro. And we're working on door hangers. That's the other part of this item that I'll show you here in a second is the door hanger that goes out. The contractor prior to actually doing the work will hang the door hanger to say, hey, this project's about to start and it's going to directly affect you for those homeowners right there. So
Hopefully-
over communicated as much as we can
Yeah,
because,
BCCA will send those to our residents.
so.
I realize anything, I know some people have put in these bird things, but they're not legal. I don't believe they're legal.
No, they
So-
wade
so
into
there's
the
no-
pond and put a T where
Right,
it's
so
almost
there's
a
nothing
bigger,
like-
but it's like the owls.
Right,
You know.
so there's nothing that,
Burley now.
if somebody's a seasonal and it's gone, they're gonna come back and say, well, you know, you have to re-put that back in.
If-
But
if
it's not
you read
supposed
the
to be put
words,
there in the first
By the
place.
way, the words in the door hanger has things like that, any personal thing within the easement. That's the door hanger.
That might be needed to be soon, because you're gonna have, there's already a lot of people that are gone.
Gone. Oh, yeah.
Okay, this has been modified for us from Mason's Gateways. We didn't reinvent the wheel. It's got 3 or 4 words changed. That's what we were doing compared to what they were doing.
does it specifically say in there, like bird perch?
No,
No,
it said personal.
personal items within the LME.
Yeah.
The lake maintenance easement.
But I'm not so sure that people recognize that that's not a part of the ponds.
They did it.
Well, unless they bought the house and it was already
Buy the
there,
house, I mean,
that's a fuzzy line.
It's not, it's a stick in the ground is what it is.
Yeah.
But since it's not legal, I guess we shouldn't acknowledge or
yeah,
in any way, shape, or form.
yeah.
I did.
I think it's-
Yeah, last thing on this list is weekly meetings with CMB. Daniel and I, Daniel says he's attending everyone. I probably won't be at everyone. We have a meeting with CMB. I don't know, he's probably lying. He didn't be there.
It could be Nathan.
But I told CMB, I was on a call with them, with Chelsea and stuff. We had a call, and Daniel was there, and Randy, I think, who was there. And then basically said that you were saying we were joint partners in this. But I view the fact that there has to be one, because it's like mom and dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they go to the one and they say no, and then they go to the other and they say yes. So I said that Daniel could be the lead. I want to totally communicate with me on everything like that. But that he would be the lead as far as CMB. So they aren't the only two heads, a two-headed serpent.
I don't know. Doug, you plus me probably does equal 1. So more so me. So I think that just clear lines of communication and making sure that everything that I'm doing is coming through you and everything that you're doing is CCing me as well. And I have no problems communicating. So
The last,
His feelings about that.
the last thing, and I said the last one, is people probably have to go to the restaurant. This is not used to an hour, 15 minutes. Is Daniel has not the authority to spend 10 cents of our budget. Okay, on his own, something, you mentioned changing the light bulb. He has no authority to spend Pond's group money. Okay, then it's our budget. He doesn't have authority to do it.
This group.
But I'd like to make a motion that Daniel was given the authority to spend $2,000. Notify us like an emergency or something like that, that he has the authority to spend up to $2,000 to fix an issue. I make a motion that we recommend that.
Now-
Have a second?
to elaborate on that, that would just include O&M items. Like if I got to go buy a new fixture for a monument for a light, if I need to go buy a set of screws to be able to fix something, some patchwork, stucco, things along those, like, I'm not trying to sneak anything in there. Every receipt will go through
Right.
the chair as well.
the regular process and we'll be notified,
Absolutely.
okay?
But there's some O&M items in there where it's like, oh, we've stand a pretty firm ground with Laura about me spending any of the committee's monies without them having explicitly
Right,
saying,
authority to do that.
Yep.
Do I have a second? They must trust you. That's, by the way, that's only 5.
this committee.
That's 5. All right,
He's got an honest face.
That's the first.
Yep.
So,
all right. The budget and capital took a lot more, as Peggy says, it was good that we went through it. I know I got frustrated, but it was good to go through it in that level. What?
It's his fault.
Well, Ed had something to do with it too over there. But they had to know.
I can sign up for that.
Okay, wait. I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
No. We haven't talked about your maintenance guy. We now have a maintenance person. And the 3 subcommittees should be developing the work that we want him to do. So consider that.
We've given them 3 already to Daniel.
I didn't hear, he gets.
We already did.
He gets an attaboy for hiring the guy.
Right, and before he even hired them, we had 3 in there. Okay?
What is the status of the weird painting
And the weird planning.
The only thing, the planning is done. I did that. I did that last week.
Did you say you're gonna paint the wall or something?
No.
For one of the bridges or something?
You know, there's a thing that you brought in.
Yes.
That's part of a different group. It's not us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
I thought it was you.
No,
that's a structure that has been requested of us, but it's just a little bit outside of our capacity because it's over a waterway. So I believe
it's on.
one of the items that the environmental group can do might be able to do some painting for us because they have a boat that's already in the waterway. But adding chemicals near a waterway of any type, you get even pressure washing into a waterway can be an issue. So
That's one.
Anybody that hasn't seen, it's an ugly bridge.
it is ugly. I agree with you.
4 cannons were placed on the rear.
But a guy sitting on top of the road couldn't get that thing.
I'm not.
Hit it with
bleach.
Power wash. Power wash.
Get the bleach into the water.
All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn? I think there's 4 seconds. Okay, vote to adjourn.
All right.
Oh, the important